Hey, Bruin fans, this is David Singleton, and you're listening to the Once Bruin Show. Go Bruins.
You're listening to the What's Bruin Show, part of the What's Bruin Show network, with your hosts, Jake Berryfield and Mike Regalado, and occasionally some friends, talking all things UCLA sports. And now, it's time for the What's Bruin Show.
Well, hello and welcome to What's Bruin. I'm your host, Jake Berryfield. I'm joined by my good buddy Mike Regalado from Bruin Report on
Mike Regalado.
Aloha, everybody.
Mike, it is great to see you.
You too, sir. It's been like freaking a month.
I know, in the What's Bruin Studios. It was just Mr. Hugo's birthday. It's awesome. You were at the Dodger
Dude,
game
you
last
hooked
night.
it up, and he just so it was my son's birthday. He turned 11, and he's this last year. I should have saved this for. I'm going to save the second half of this for my What's Bruin. But yeah, he's been, kids are influenced by their friends, and they get influenced in this stuff and that. Blah 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 blah. I'm not the hugest Dodgers fan, but I show up. I know what's up. I listen to sports radio. So this last year, he's become a Shohei Ohtani fan. So I've been trying to
Who hasn't?
watch baseball with him and explain to him, and he's understanding it. And he wants to learn how to play, and he wants to do Little League. I'm like, okay, let's observe this first. But anyway, and so he just turned 11 last week, and we got him a Shohei Ohtani jersey, and it was funny because he had a whole birthday party. He was with his friends. They were running around, and then when it was time to open presents, some of his friends they were still playing. So I was like, okay, well, let me open my mom and dad's first. And he opened it and he looked at it and he just stared at both of us like, are you freaking kidding me? Yeah, exactly. I would have died if my parents would have gotten me like a Magic Johnson or a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar jersey back in the day. The fact that his face and my daughter took a video of it, he literally goes from ha 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 to what?
That's awesome.
So I topped it off with a little help from the gentleman sitting across from me by taking him to his first Dodger game in quite a while. We went probably about 4 or 5 years ago. I think it was the last time. But I'm like, dude, you want to get immersed in baseball? Here we go.
LFG.
I gotta say though, fun, especially, dude, I love going to Dodger games, especially in the summer evening. Beautiful sunsets, just gorgeous. But some of y'all need to take some extra deodorant. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It's like I'm like walking. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But still,
You are right about that. That's a good call.
yeah.
That's a very good call.
Oh my god, and the hot chola factor, it's insane there.
Even better call. Even better call.
Anyway,
it's the What's
it's
Bruin
been fun.
Show.
What's the What's Bruin
On the
Show?
What's Bruin Show Network. Thank you for your support.
Advocates for hot cholas.
Absolutely. What's Bruin Show at gmail.com is the email. Thank you for your support. You can subscribe to the What's Bruin Show for how much, Mikey?
$2.
Just a couple bucks. Just a couple bucks, or give or take. And that's on the Substack, what'sbruin.substack.com, or on the Patreon, patreon.com/what'sbruinshow, or just what'sbruinshow.com. And we really do appreciate your support. We're heading into the football season, and we're all getting more and more excited. We're going to have Wayne Cook on in about 5 to 10 minutes, and just an outstanding interview with Wayne. He gave us, I think, almost an hour.
Always, yeah.
Which we're always so appreciative of him, and that's just fantastic. But before we get to that, we have a couple things to do at the top. Number one is to remind you of the, you can also search on YouTube, just search What's Bruin Show and look for the UCLA related stuff. And then you can call the hotline, 805-399-4WBS.
Suck it, Reign of Troy.
Suck it, Reign of Troy. And special news note, breaking news on Friday, we're going to have our crossover episode. Mike will not be able to attend that, but that's okay because we'll have Reign of Troy's Michael Castillo and Alicia De Artola, and from the former podcast Traveler Hates Thursdays, good old Kenny. He'll be on the show as well.
Oh, nice.
So it'll be fun.
I haven't had him on in a while.
Yeah, they're all coming over, and so we're going to have that on Friday for you as well. But call the hotline. We're ready for football season, and we're ready to get it cracking. But we do have one hotline call to play before we move on, so let's get right to it.
Hey guys, it's your favorite person, 10 and 2 Dez, waiting to shoot rainbows out of my ass.
Go Bruins.
First off, I want
Go
to say,
Bruins!
Jake, I could never use you as my brother because of maybe skin tones. Maybe if I was adopted, that would probably work, but I got to take those L's with the police as much as possible.
Hey, I'm going to stop the tape right here, Dez, and I don't care. You can roll with it. I have two nephews from one Bill Shirley III, and let's just say they're my nephews. No color lines, man. 92.3 the beat, baby. That's all right.
Second, the reason why I honestly think we should go 10 and 2 is last year, even though we were now missing 4 big pieces on the defense still was pretty much the anchor of the team. They got tired after a while. We hung in there with LSU. We hung in there with Penn State. We should have beaten USC. We should have beaten Minnesota. But if this was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. But at this rate, I think we do have some studs in the or diamonds in the rough that are on that defense that can help it out. The defense has got, both lines have gotten bigger. Offensive line has gotten bigger, but we won't know anything until Utah. So I'm saying this. If we struggle against Utah, I can see an 8-7 win season. If we put hands all over Utah, which I think, they were a bad team last year anyway, they might turn around and be awesome. But if we put hands all over them and they become awesome also after that, then we're honestly looking at a 10-2 season, and we might scare either not Oregon. We don't play Oregon, genius. Penn State or Ohio State. But outside of that, I think we're getting reps against. I think we should have a fair game against Indiana. Last year we had no clue what they were about. We're basically running the same offense, so that should be, a split there either way. But once again, I'm saying 10-2 because I like living in dreams. Anyway, love you guys. Miss talking to you guys or talking at you guys. And go Bruins.
Go Bruins.
Go Bruins.
Go Bruins.
Go Bruins.
Des, it's always great to hear from you. That is awesome.
Go Bruins.
Well, I'm not drinking the 10-2 Kool-Aid yet, but I mean, Wayne Cook had us pretty much believe in exactly what you're laying down. So we'll see how that goes. Just listen up for Wayne in about, just a couple minutes from now. But Des, thank you very much for calling. And yeah, dude, I'm your brother. I'm your cousin. I'm whatever. Dude, just use it. It's okay. Use it and abuse it.
Brother.
From another mother.
Brother from another mother. Sister or sis from another miss. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. I'm on a roll.
No, that's exactly what I was thinking, Mike. No, you nailed it. You nailed it. Thank you very much, Des, for calling. I really appreciate it. We have one other thing to get to before we get to Wayne Cook, and that is our buddy, fan of the show. We've met him multiple times, and he's over there working for UCLA. Mr. Mike Crawford, we love him to death. He published an article on UCLABruins.com, and it's titled "A Big Ten Blueprint: UCLA's Bold New Era" by Mike Crawford from the UCLA Alumni Association. And this is it's like a long form piece, man, talking about UCLA's success in the Big Ten and everything happened and the challenges they face and the all the stuff they did to kind of mitigate all the challenges, like the mental health stuff and the traveling stuff. And he did a great job writing this article. It got published on the 4th. So guys, go out over there and check it out. Mike Crawford, A Big Ten Blueprint, UCLA's Bold New Era, and I will try effort to put a link to it in the show notes. So good job, Crawford. We really appreciate your hard work, brother. And he's over there taking care of his young children, all that, and going to games and just looking
Crawford rules
and bushy-tailed, and we always appreciate seeing him. So hopefully we'll see him at the Utes game. Mike, are you going to be at the Utes game?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Very good. And I'll be there, I think.
Oh yeah.
The only thing that's pissed me off, Mike, before we get to Wayne, I'm just going to want a quick little jag about the gosh darn times of these games. Like, what the hell? Are we like doubling up on like night games? Like, bam, 1-2.
Yeah.
I don't want to go watch a game at the Rose Bowl at 8:00 at night because you know what that means?
You're gonna get home on Tuesday.
Or I'm just going to leave at halftime, and that's going to piss me off.
Yes.
That's going to piss me off.
I'm going to leave on Tuesday.
Mike's going to leave at 5 a.m, and I'm going to leave at halftime, and neither of us are going to be happy.
Yeah,
and it's like a total bummer.
Unless there is a win.
Well, it's still going to be a bummer for us because you're going to be there forever, and I'm going to be there.
We'll be tired. We'll be tired.
I know. I'm just saying.
But no, it's crazy because last week I talked a little bit about how if I don't go to Las Vegas, I'm going to see if I can finagle trying to squeeze in, or even if I do go to Vegas, try to squeeze in that Oasis show. But it just that Saturday game is at UNLV is at 6 p.m. I think, which is I guess prime time, but
It's
just looking at it just from the national perspective, who wants to see UCLA UNLV? Unless UCLA goes 70-0 against Utah the week before, I doubt there are going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, oh, West Coast after dark. Okay, let's check this out.
I mean, I get it. They need to have the teams on the inventories and stuff, but it's like we shouldn't have to do back-to-back night games for college football. Like, I get it. For a Laker game, you get what you're getting. There's a shorter window. For a college football game, there's nothing longer than college football, and it's like, come on, man.
I did think about
a break.
I did think about this. Games that are before 5 p.m. at the Rose Bowl in August or the first half of September suck. They what was it that season 2 or 3 years ago where we had like 3 games in a row that were like at noon at the Rose Bowl, and it was just unbearable. So I could probably understand that that's probably a factor. It doesn't help that you're at the Rose Bowl the first week and then you're in Las Vegas in the freaking desert the next week. So I can assume that that's probably a little bit of it. But is the game time up for the New Mexico game?
Yeah, it's 7 o'clock. That's my point. It's like if it was 5 o'clock, I'd be all good. But both the first 2 home games for the Bruins are at 8 o'clock and 7 o'clock. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Like 7 o'clock's a little better than 8. I would love
not
5
much
o'clock.
better,
That'd be great.
but
But it's like, gosh, the thing lasts so long. We're gonna be there forever, and then getting out of the freaking Rose Bowl. That's the only bad thing.
Oh God, yeah.
You know, I can get in the Rose Bowl very easily now. Getting out of the Rose Bowl, if you leave at the end of the game, is very, very hard.
Well, I get out of the Rose Bowl easy because I'm getting out an hour after everyone else does.
3 hours after.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, I'm sorry. We're not complaining. We're excited for the football season.
We're complaining,
but that is those late like we can't have it. We can't have it be a nice happy medium. It has to be one extreme or the other.
Exactly.
Either freaking literally last game of the night or at 117 degrees, which was always Bill's excuse for not going to games. He doesn't have that excuse this year, but it's not like he's going to go to the games anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Anywho, Mike Crawford,
golfing.
We're proud of you. Good job, brother. And now, like, it's my pleasure to bring you our wonderful interview. It's like an hour's worth with Wayne Cook on the What's Bruin hotline. So, hey, let's throw it over to Wayne. All right, once again, we are lucky enough to have the great Wayne Cook on the What's Bruin hotline. Wayne is one of the former great UCLA Bruin quarterbacks. He is also a longstanding sideline reporter for UCLA football. It's been like decades now. He's also a frequent guest of about 30 different sports talk shows and the host of at least a couple, I think, or at least a co-host. And he also happens to be shaping young minds in our local classrooms. Still, this guy is a hell of a guy. We love him. Wayne Cook, welcome back to the What's Bruin Show. How are you doing?
Well, I appreciate that intro and thank you very much. Yeah, I'm doing great, you guys. I've only been home for about an hour from this afternoon's practice. So
that's awesome.
This is great timing. It's all fresh in my brain.
Oh, I love to hear that. And so that was really the first question I wanted to ask you is, one, have you been to practice, which you just answered, and then 2 is how much better do you, as a guy out there, in the 909 and beyond, how much do you appreciate Costa Mesa as opposed to Westwood for this purpose?
Oh, that's a good call, right? Yes. Costa Mesa has been nice. I think we got a little bit more sun. It wasn't as overcast today. I think they want it to be a little bit more difficult, to be honest with you, because I think practicing in the heat, seeing how tough you are, I think that stuff's actually really good. But the fields are great. I love being on grass. It's very I think this is a big deal, you guys. I think when you bring on, 30 whatever, new players, to be able to get away, and we've heard Coach Foster talk about this, to be able to get away and build camaraderie and maybe have roommates that you're not used to rooming with and not have the comforts of home, and just kind of go through camp together, I think is going to be really, really valuable, because one of the things that I've witnessed out there is just a very cohesive staff. I really like this staff, that the energy that they bring, that Coach Foster's put together. I feel like this has really got his footprint all over it. Like all the people he brought in and every single coach I've met, there's a relationship that he's had with Coach Foster. And then to see Coach Foster out there and the way he's coaching, there's a comfort level that I think he's just surrounded himself with the right people that really know what they're doing and are doing a really good job. And then you throw into the mix, there's enough players that have been around, but the new players that have come in, it's been impressive to see how hard they're working. There's really, let's just put it this way, you guys. I mean, when you watch a really good practice, whether it's players or coaches, they don't allow people to take plays off. There seems to be a level of competition out there because it feels like for the first time I shouldn't say the first time, but it's probably better than it's been in a long time. The depth, like there is a ton of DBs starting that are fighting for playing time. We're deeper. I mean, we're deeper at some of these positions than I feel like we've been, and I think it's awesome.
No, that's really good to hear, and I want to kind of go through the position groups that you've kind of observed since you've been out there. But really, like the first question I asked was really just a Wayne Cook question, not necessarily a football team question. Because I love it. I loved it when they went out to San Bernardino. I grew up out there, so it was cool going back out to the 909 to watch that. But for Wayne Cook personally, having to make the drive, is it better to go to Costa Mesa than it is to go to Westwood, or is it about the same?
It is. It is from Temecula. Yeah. It's easier. Yeah. It probably takes that 30 to anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour or less.
Right.
And so far it's been really good. Like took me a little while to get home today. I get grumpy about taking toll roads, so I tend to avoid them. And then I go back and forth in my head on like, was it really worth saving $8 for another 20 minutes in traffic? But Waze usually will do me right and get me home the correct way. But you guys, to be honest with you, talked about all the shows I do. I've got, my podcast, College Sports Now, starts up in a week. All that stuff's going on. Yeah. And so for me, I got to be ready for Hartzell. So I got to listen to as much sports talk. Yeah, exactly. I got to listen to as much sports talk radio as I can to get ready for the season. So it's a perfect opportunity for me to be in the car, and I don't start teaching until next week either. So it's perfect for me to make it to practice.
That's outstanding. And I'm just telling you, every minute that Wayne Cook spends on this earth is worth the $8. I'm telling you, man, it's worth your time is worth that money, pal.
Here. Wayne, really quickly, you brought up the coaches, and I've done a few podcasts, national, smaller podcasts that just want to get an update on UCLA, and everyone wants to talk about Nico, but you brought it up. The coaches have a different. They're bringing a different feel to this roster, to this team, and that's the thing. Like I say, he should be good, he should be fine, but there have been strides made by the coaches, not just in recruiting, but how they coach. What are you seeing from a lot of these new guys, and even like Coach Mead is not new. He's been here before, but he's new to this.
New again. He's new again. But then you have Quan, you have Sinceri, coaches all over the place. What are your thoughts on how they are going to help this team?
I like the youth of the staff. And it's not so young that they're green, but they're young enough to where their energy is, they're not thinking about what they're going to do when they retire. They're thinking about how to become great coaches. And I think that's really smart. And I think that Coach Foster has brought in a group of guys like Coach Toller, the the receiver coach, that is just full of energy, and he's just got so much energy out there. You mentioned Coach Sinceri. I just think he's going to be my favorite acquisition. I mean, he uses words that I used to hear from Homer Smith all the time when I played.
Awesome.
And I watch the way he coaches. He even will at times demonstrate, like, I don't want you guys taking any plays off. It needs to look like we're playing Ohio State. Like, that's one of the things. And he's out there, showing them how to make a ball fake and run out around the edge. And he actually throws the ball to someone down in the end zone. Threw a pretty darn nice ball too. And I'm like, he's just so energetic when he coaches. And then you start looking at the O-line, which, you guys, if we're going to have a group of guys that are going to make the biggest improvement, and I'll give you another position group in a second, but my first one right now is the offensive line. And here's what's crazy about it. Well, and again, you mentioned coaching, and I really want everybody to try to understand this, and I believe this my whole career. Like, I've watched some quarterbacks at UCLA kind of struggle through their careers, and sometimes I say, it wasn't that quarterback wasn't talented. I just don't think they were coached right, and I don't think they were put in the right situation. If they would have been put in a better situation and coached better, I actually think they would have had better careers. And I know that's kind of hard for people to understand, but like, coaching is so important that way. Like, last year's offense is really hard for me to judge because I don't think they were put in situations to succeed. And it feels like Sinceri's primary goal, guys, is to put all these players in situations to succeed. So I'll just finish this thought and then I'll let you jump in. The offensive line, what I've loved about Coach Quan, first of all, I love the way he coaches them, and I don't want to get too detailed on it, but like I like kind of hard coaches at the O-line and the way he talks to them, but he also loves them up too. I just feel like they're getting a lot out of him. But man, there's a ton of guys moving around. I couldn't tell you what the starting five is going to be. I wouldn't even if I knew, but I mean, I couldn't tell you because I don't know. I mean, there's been guys playing. I mean, DeGiorgio's been everywhere. Like, I expect him to be in the lineup, but I don't know where he's going to play, and he might play different places. That's just one person. There's been other guys moving around too. So I'm excited about that group because, and like you said, I could go on for days about this coaching staff, but we didn't even talk about the defensive side. Like, the energy is just great, and I love our coordinators. I think at Tyka Malloy, last year's defense was ranked probably lower than it should have been for as good as it was. But if you look at our schedule and how bad our offense was, he did a great job with that defense last year.
No, absolutely right. And Wayne, look, you're absolutely preaching to the choir. Literally, the next question I was going to ask you was, last year watching that football team, I kind of felt that just based on the decision of the offense they chose to deploy and the way that they went out there with it, I thought they were kind of playing with one hand tied behind their back. And my question to you was, I thought, I looked at an offensive line, a group, and obviously it changes year to year, but I saw guys that could run block for like 5 years in a row and could, they had a running game the entire time that Chip Kelly was there, and all of a sudden it just falls off a cliff. I'm like, I'm pointing to more than just the players in that situation. It has to be more than that. Right. And so my question to you is, I don't want to talk about the former coaching staff at all any more than you want to, but it can. I think you've already answered the question a little bit, but with Sinceri, with the new blood on offense, do you think that Bruin fans can like optimistically look at these guys going out on the field this year and scoring more than 18 points just from the fact of all the changes that have been made? I mean, I'm kind of optimistic about that. How about you?
I guarantee you that the offense will be better than it was last year. I mean, it was really hard to watch last year.
Really hard.
And it's one of those things that, like, I don't think we put any of our players in a situation to succeed. And from what I'm seeing right now, and I was going to tell you, my second group of most improved is going to be the running game. These running backs, I'm telling you, Javion Thomas, he's got the nickname Jet already.
Love it.
Is explosive. He's athletic. He's a leader. Like, again, we're getting these guys, and, I know we're going to eventually talk about Nico. We're getting these young men in that are leaders to go along with the leaders we already have, like Hudson Havermill, right? And our two tight ends, our two senior, older tight ends, Jack Peterson and Havermill. I love those guys. They just exude hard work and leadership. But now you're adding the running back room, and I'm looking at Javion Thomas. I'm looking at Jalen Berger, who's healthy, right? We didn't get to see what he could do last year because he was never quite right.
Right.
He's healthy. And then you throw in Anthony Woods, who not enough people are talking about, who's a guy out of that we got from Utah. Man, he can move. Get him the ball in space, and this guy can absolutely run. And then he's putting it between the tackles. And, Anthony Frias is a guy we had last year that if you ask the coaches, this is one of the hardest working, best teammates. If you left the field and wanted to make sure everybody was doing what they were supposed to be doing, you'd put Anthony Frias in charge.
Yeah.
So you got that group. And Troy Leekber is also out there making plays. I mean, you got 5 running backs like running, and you're sitting there. There was a team drill today. I'm watching this offensive line move guys, and that's not a knock on the defensive line because we'll get to that in a second. I think those guys are going to be stout this year. But the running backs, I mean, we really had 0 running game last year. And one of the things you'll notice right away, you guys, is the speed of these guys.
That's wonderful.
The backs can go a little bit, which is awesome.
No, it's great. I saw Thomas up. My daughter goes to Cal, and so I went to a bunch of their games last year. And as soon as he transferred down here, I was like, yes, it's worth the Cal money. It's worth everything to get that done.
Yeah.
So let's get to the big question. What's your impression of Nico? How do you like his footwork, touch, command, and where do you think he stacks up amongst the other great UCLA quarterbacks, let's say in the last 15 years, like Brett, Josh Rosen, and DTR?
Yeah, well, we don't know yet because we haven't seen him as far as a Bruin. So I can't tell you where he's going to stand up with people that have, Brett Hundley was a guy that came to my mind when I started thinking about him. But to be honest with you, he's an unbelievably natural thrower of the football. And I will say this, younger brother, who seems small. He seems small, but he's 6'3". Is a really natural thrower of the football. Like I expect him to move up the depth chart pretty quick.
Nice.
He's really good, and we should be. We have Luke Duncan,
Yep.
who's improved a ton. So I like our quarterback room. And so, like, for me with Nico, and I see this with Madden too, that's why I'm bringing up the brothers, you can just tell that they've been coached. They're trying to do the right things with their feet. They have great foundation. There's so many quarterbacks out there that are lazy, that drift into drops, that don't have good footwork, that throw off balance because they think if you throw off platform, to throw off platform, for that to make any sense, you kind of have to throw on platform some too. Like, you know what I mean? You can't just do it the wrong way all the time.
You're making
that's
crazy
why a
good
lot
sense,
of these
yeah, that's amazing.
well, but right. But that's why a lot of these quarterbacks that we look at that are so athletic. Why do you think? I brought this up the other day in a show, but I'm like, Jalen Milroe's not going to be missed at Alabama because Kalen DeBoer wants a thrower.
Right. You got to put the
like
first in
Jalen,
first,
but
right?
he's such a good. Yeah, but he's such a good athlete. Yeah, I get it. But all these athletes that are going into the NFL, the ones that are succeeding are the ones that can also be really good throwers.
No doubt.
Like if you got both, then you're great. But Jane Daniels is incredible. Yeah, can he run? Absolutely. But have you watched him throw the football? He's really good at it. So, like, he's not going to be as great, even the big guys that can run, even the Josh Allens and the Justin Herberts. Yeah, those guys can run, but they're also really good throwers. So you look at guys like that, and that's what makes you great. So when I look at Nico, he's 6'6". He's got an unbelievable natural throwing motion. He can go through his progressions in the pocket. But he also knows how to, and what's really cool about this is when the play breaks down, he'll do a natural scramble drill. And when he does that, he's really good at throwing on the run. But he doesn't want to do that until the play doesn't work. Because if you think about what Curtis York did at Indiana last year, this passing game is going to be getting the ball out to the right person at the right time.
Right.
And if you do that, we saw how successful it can be. Now you add the athleticism of, we all know that plays break down sometimes. And then he adds that to the mix, which is what I'm telling you guys, he has a chance to be one of the elites. He has a chance at the end of the season to be in the Heisman race. He's that talented. He's that talented, but he's got to keep working. He's got to keep learning the system. But here's what's so cool, you guys. When he makes a mistake, and what I mean by a mistake is he throws a ball maybe catchable, but a little bit high, he will literally go up to the player, and I've witnessed this more than once, say, that's on me. I got to put that on your body. Because as a quarterback, you want to be perfect. You want to throw the most catchable ball possible. And I absolutely love that about him. I'll tell you this, guys, I've witnessed plenty of quarterbacks that it's never their fault. He will own it right away. I'm telling you, the character is absolutely incredible from what I've seen so far.
And that's wonderful, too. And Wayne, I think I wrote a poor question in asking you to compare him to DTR and Hundley and Rose and all that. But really, the question is, at all the hype that we had for Hundley before he played, for Rosen before he played, for DTR before they played, for Moore before he played, like, where do you think Nico stacks up now that Wayne's Cook's highly trained eyes have looked at him a little bit? Where does he relate to the hype machine versus the reality? And then plus on the backside of it, you see all these kind of national guys with axes to grind. They're like, oh, Tennessee really, they're really not that good. Oh, gee. So like that's really the question is. Yeah, I think you've kind of answered it, but do you have anything to say, more about like him coming in? What do we get?
Well, I could talk about this all day.
I'm sure.
I mean, like, listen, guys, like him, if he stays at Tennessee, he's top 5 or 6 quarterbacks on the Heisman list.
Yeah.
Why is it that Dylan Raiola and Dante Moore are getting more love and more hype than the guy that led his team to the playoffs last year?
I'm flabbergasted.
Like it makes zero sense to me. Like I don't get it. And it's all they create this. I mean, I get it. Well, it's Oregon. I go, it's kind of like when we predict teams being good or bad based on their strength of schedule. I'm like, does that really make them good because they play nobody? And I'm like, I don't. Sometimes the things that we talk about in college football bother me so much that I don't I don't understand it. But Nico is still the quarterback, the young quarterback. You know, he was a second-year freshman that led his team to 10 wins. Tennessee acts like they win every year. Go ahead and look. They don't.
No.
They haven't. I mean, they literally haven't won a championship in like forever, like a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all the people you run into that are like, oh, you know, Quinn Ewers was garbage. I go look at the last 20 years and tell me which of your quarterbacks won the most games you've won in the last 20 years. The last 2 years, Texas has been as good as they've been forever, but they were so excited about Arch that they decided that Quinn Ewers sucks.
Yeah.
I'm like, I went and looked. I do the research. I'm like, they had a ton of, they were like, Texas and Tennessee are living off being Texas and Tennessee. Now, at least Texas has taken the next step. So did Tennessee, but they did it with Nico at quarterback. And to act like he didn't have anything to do with that is just silly to me. Like, was he perfect? No. But was he also a very young quarterback? And the last time I checked, and I will say this forever, think about the quarterbacks in the last 4 or 5 years, especially since the transfer portal, that have been great. Whether it's Bo Nix, he transferred, and he was also old. When, you know what I mean? He was at Auburn at one point in time, and they hated him.
Yeah.
And look at what he became, and look what he's doing now in the NFL. How about Penix? He was good at Indiana. I'll give him that. But then he got hurt. He got beat up. He comes back, and when he's an older, more mature quarterback, he's one of the best in the country. I don't care if it's Joe Burrow back in the day, his last year. I don't care. Baker Mayfield when he was a senior. You can go through this whole thing. Mature quarterbacks that have been around and got a lot of reps. Jaden Daniels, we talked about him earlier. He was going the wrong direction at Arizona State.
Yeah, no doubt.
Then by the time he was done at LSU, he was as good as anybody in the country. And look at what he's become. Why wouldn't Nico? They're already assuming Dante Moore. And again, I'm not bashing Dante Moore at all. I thought he played before he was ready. I think he learned that too because he chose to go to Oregon knowing he was going to sit behind another one of the quarterbacks that we're talking about, Dylan Gabriel, so he can learn and be more ready for this year. Well, guess what? Nico played and won 10 games, had a 19-5 touchdown interception ratio, which last time I checked is still pretty good, and threw for over 2,600 yards.
Yeah.
And played in a playoff game. And who'd they lose to? They lost to Ohio State, who won the national championship. We got a dude with experience, right? That's played in some big-time games and won some big-time games at UCLA. So I don't know how that doesn't make people excited.
Yeah, neither do I. And to me, like I said, there's obviously, I don't know how many people have, an anti-Bruin agenda on their minds, really. But I mean, it's like it's very dismissive. It's very dismissive of UCLA because we're kind of under the radar. And Nico's one of those things that's brought us above the radar a little bit this year. And so it's funny to see how people react to it. But just a couple more on this offense, Wayne, and that is number one. Nico's coming from Tennessee, and there's a lot made about the offense that they run in Tennessee, about how it's kind of different or whatever it is. Coming here to play with, in the new offense under Sunseri, and what UCLA is going to be running, how much of a difference do you think there is between those two things? Look at Indiana last year versus Tennessee last year.
Wow, that's a really good question. I mean, I know they're different. I mean, it would be hard for me without sitting down and really breaking down the film to see it.
Yeah.
But listen, I saw Indiana up close and personal. And I remember they ran a play in the goal line, and I remember they threw the ball to a receiver in the back of the end zone, and it was kind of one of those someone goes to the flat, someone comes across the back, and I forget if it was a road play or not, but it was just it was a great call, and it was early in the game, and I go, you know what? I go, they're going to throw that later in the game. They're going to hit the other guy next time, and sure enough, it happened. And when you're running good route schemes, you should get multiple guys open.
Right.
Allow your quarterback to see, a couple of guys on one side of the field and find them open. And then what I really like about what I'm seeing is, then the backside's available. It's not like you're running, to me, it's always been bad when coaches try to overcoach and they say, listen, here's our read on this play. It's just this area. You're going to throw to this guy or this guy. Why would you ever limit the field? Usually when you start on one side, if you go through your progressions correctly, the backside is way more open because everybody's following your eyes and they know you're looking to the other side.
Yeah.
So using the whole field is huge, but I can't tell you. I mean, Coach Sunseri wants the ball out make your read and get it out. Let's get the ball out quickly. But it's everything. There's a lot of downfield throws, and Nico's got the arm for it. But there's also a lot of quick hitters. And I think when you watched what they did with Rourke last year at Indiana, it was just brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, they may not have played the hardest schedule in the world, but remember, UCLA's defense was pretty solid last year. And Indiana, they did a lot of really good things. And I remember walking away from that game going, dang, Indiana's a lot better than I thought they were.
Oh, yeah.
And sure enough, they ended up proving it, because that was pretty early in the season. That was a game that I think a lot of us penciled as a possible win. And then after watching that game, I went, wow, they're going to be a tough out. And they were. So I'm excited. Like I said, I feel like, we probably didn't have the best of offenses last year. The scheme probably wasn't what we needed.
No kidding.
And I feel like this year we have a really good college offense being coached by some really good coaches. We brought in a thoroughbred for a quarterback, a guy that's a 5-star guy that, trust me, he looks the part, that wants to be here. It seems like he's having an absolute blast. I gotta be honest with you, if you've ever got watched enough football, you guys, there's always guys that you can find where you're like, this guy don't want to be here.
Yeah.
He may have talent, but he just looks like he can't wait till practice is over so he can go, have a drink and relax and go play video games in his hotel room. And there's other guys that are really like, they just embrace learning about college football and being out there. And I feel like there's a lot of guys on this team, but Nico's one of them. He's enjoying himself, and he's hard on himself. It's not just, and trust me, Coach Sinceria lets him know, if you throw a bad ball or you're not good, or you're not, I don't care if it's Luke or Madden or Clarkson or Henry Hasselbeck, any of them, he's going to let you know that was late, that was lazy, it was too high, it was too low. He expects perfection. And that's the kind of stuff that you have to have if you want to be a good offensive football team.
No, and that's wonderful too. And I saw some reports about Nico, like the generic, he's picking up the playbook good. And I didn't look at that as any sort of comment on Nico. I looked at that more of that's hopefully a hopeful comment about this offense being simpler and a college offense and all that. And I'm really looking forward to what they're going to deploy this year. But Wayne, do you have any concerns at all about Sinceri's not ever having actually called plays in a college football game before? Is there anything to worry about there?
I don't know if I've ever been. Well, and again, this is for personal reasons, because he reminds me, he's totally different. First of all, he's young, and I'd always, if I had an alter ego, like if I had if I would have ever been, I did coach football a long time ago in high school, but if I were to be a college football coach, he's kind of like the model I think I would like to be. When he yells at you, it's more of an enthusiastic yell as opposed to you're a piece of crap and you don't deserve to be alive. It's more of that was horse crap and you need to be better. But it's almost like he's saying it in a motivational way.
Yeah, actually coaching.
It's pushing people, and it's like, and to me, he'll demonstrate. He's got this energy, and what I've always felt is great about coaches is when it's obvious that, he knows this stuff like the back of his hand. There's no hesitation. He's been a quarterback. He knows. I love that we have a quarterback coach that's the offensive coordinator. I've really never liked it when that's not the case. I don't like having a separate quarterback coach to go that the coordinator's not coaching them, because I feel like those two positions need to be connected. Your quarterback needs to be your co-pilot. You need to share a brain. And it's like, to me, I just think that's the way it should be. Bob Toledo and Homer Smith were my coaches when they were my coordinator also, and I just think that's a huge advantage. So I think that the playbook thing, that's tricky. The great thing about playbooks is you don't have to put all the plays in to be successful. I think it's one of the biggest misconceptions in sports. If you run 15 plays really well and you have good athletes and you can compete with the other people, you can win football games.
Darn right.
And if you only have part of the playbook in when the season starts and you just keep building and adding as the season goes on, which, by the way, teams do that anyway. They do that anyway. So I just think they're doing a good job with the install, with bringing it along at the right pace. There's still mistakes. You see it from receivers. You see it from running backs every once in a while, but not as many as you think, which makes me feel like these guys are doing a great job in the meeting room and going over stuff. And it also makes me feel like the pacing of how we're putting in plays is effective.
That's awesome.
Wayne, I want to switch gears to Akeka Malloy and the defense, but really quickly, you brought something up a few minutes ago. I want to ask you just really quickly. Tennessee was more of a run-heavy team last year. Not necessarily saying that Nico is going to be a dual threat, but how much damage do you think he can do with his legs?
You know what? I think first of all, he's extremely athletic. So I think the leg part of it will be natural. I forget what his stats were last year. He had like 300, 400 yards rushing. I mean, he had some okay yards. It wasn't like anything extraordinary, but I fully expect there to be first of all, a huge upgrade in our running game this year.
Please.
So if you've listened to Tino and if you listen to Coach Foster, you listen to Coach AJ, the running back coach. If you listen to these guys, they're going to run the football. Like even Sinceri said in one of his press conferences after practice, his coaching tree, which includes a guy by the name of Nick Saban.
Yeah.
You can tell he gets kind of like he's thirsty to run the football. Because everybody that knows anything about football, it knows that when you run the football to complement your passing game, it's just the best way to have a really good offense. It really is. And so I fully expect the running game to be a big part of this. But what I think and what I like is Nico wants to go through his progressions. He's not going to take off and start running unnecessarily. He'll stay in the pocket, and he's going to go through his progression, and he's going to look for guys downfield. But what's cool to me is when it's not there. Step up in the pocket, run out to the right, not necessarily looking to run downfield yet. And I've seen this in person, not only on tape, but also in practice. And he's eyes downfield. And remember, like I always just say that, like when Bryce Young was at Alabama, he didn't want to run. When some of these guys scramble, they scramble to buy more time. But here's what's great. Like as you mature as a quarterback, you're going to gain this kind of like, you're just going to gain the feel of it's time to go now. Like, you know what I mean? Like I bought time, but nothing's there. I'm going to go get 7 yards on the scramble.
Yeah.
And when you see him take off and run, you can tell, I mean, he's not only tall, you guys, but he doesn't run awkwardly. He runs very athletically. So I like that. And man, the one thing you never see in practice is, is he going to get down when he's supposed to? Is he going to get out of bounds when he's supposed to? So I just think it's go through your progressions, run the offense the way they practice it. Then when there's a scramble opportunity, he's the kind of guy that's going to buy time and keep his eyes downfield. And then, the third thing you do is you take off and go when it's there. And so, I think he's got all that talent. And I think, again, with all the experience he had from last year, he didn't lose that when he left Tennessee. He brought all that experience with him. And now he's got a brilliant quarterback coach who's calling the plays. And I just going to think it's going to make him that much better. So I would be lying to you if I didn't sit there and go, man, I am happy that this guy's not only a good thrower, but he's athletic. Because we all know in the modern game, being athletic and being able to buy time and move around and pick up some good yards. I mean, I'll go all the way. I always go back to Andrew Luck because he was the most frustrating quarterback I ever remember watching UCLA play against.
No doubt.
Because whenever it was 3rd and 9 or 3rd and 10, he would either scramble for it or throw for it. And literally he'd get 1 yard more than he needed. And it would drive you absolutely crazy. So that's the kind of ability that he has.
All right, let's talk about the defense, who is in their own type of transition. Coach Akeka Malloy is back, but once again, the Bruins lost a ton of players off a very good defense from last year. Do you think they have enough to stay competitive in the Big Ten this year?
Oh my gosh! So this is the part where I'm happy. So I'm at Big Ten, and media day, and we're interviewing all the players.
Oh yeah.
And I forget who told me. I think it was Garrett DiGiorgio, and he sits there and he goes, "Do you realize that Gary Smith just squatted 700 pounds?"
I love that guy.
And I went,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh!" Well, and Gary's always been. Remember, before he got hurt, he was playing. But I kind of always viewed him as he is a little bit too big. Can he not move? Holy cow, is that guy. Corey Miller, the strength and conditioning coach, and his staff, all the strength, staff, they have kicked butt. I mean, this team looks, and I saw Gary, after practice, he's just in shorts and he's got his shirt off, and I'm going, his arms look like they would be strong legs.
That's outstanding.
I was like, oh my gosh. He doesn't look like anything's bothering him. He doesn't look like, and he is strong. And then we know we're getting Keanu back. So
Yes.
that's a guy that's, really working at getting healthy right now. So those are two defensive tackles. And then Siale Tapaki. Like I went up and said hey to him the other day. He's looking stout right now. And I shook his hand. And I'm literally he almost broke my hand. I go, dude, he almost broke my hand. And I was talking to Coach Miller. He's like, yeah, he does that. And I'm like, well, he needs to not do that to me. But I mean, you could just feel his strength. So that, remember Jay Tawia was a great player last year. He didn't always get the stats, but man, he opened up stuff for our linebackers. So having those guys in the trenches is going to be huge. And then here's what's fun. Jacob Busick, who looked like he might be leaving last year, there was some weird, is he coming or is he going? He says he's totally healthy. He's back. Apu's back. But then you bring in two transfers, Nico, and again, I'm going to say his name wrong, Davalier. Anyway,
Devalier,
Nico,
probably.
I think it's Devalier. I got to practice that one a little bit more.
Yeah.
had a chance to talk to him and meet him. He can play. And then the name that I'm hearing a lot is Anthony Jones. These two guys look the part coming off the edge. So that's exciting because you got to have those. We're going to lose. Femi, it took him a while to get there, but once we put him on the edge, it changed the defense.
Oh, yeah,
so I'm excited. But the thing that's crazy is you think we're going to listen. Cam Madrano was great last year. He was fastest linebacker in the draft, and then you also you had all Mr. All-American Carson Schlesinger, who had the year of a lifetime last year. So now you go out there and you look in the middle of the field and you see Jalen Woods, and you're going, oh, and I'm telling you, Matt Stevens and I have been talking about him for a couple of years now. We're like, this guy's going to be so good. He's going to be so good. He needs to get on the field. Well, now those other guys are gone. He's going to be on the field a lot more. He's going to be really good. And John Vaughns is a full-time football player right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's a full-time, and he looks like he's changed. Like his body looks a little bit more linebacker-ish. And then you're like, a couple of years ago, I'm watching, his number was 30 back then, Donnie Pella. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to be good. He's an athlete. Well, he's back at full strength, and he's running around the field. We got Chisholm, the transfer from Oregon State, and they all kind of look the same. Ben Perry is another guy, kind of just looks like an athletic linebacker. So we got a freshman that's 6'4", 235, and Scott Taylor, who looks really, really good. So kind of like, wow. And then now I'm getting excited. Then you look at the secondary and you be like, there's hardly anybody back.
Right.
And then you're like, ooh, but there's Kanye Clark, who I'm like, he looks really good. Remember, he got hurt early last year. So he's back. But then you bring in all these other players. There's so much depth in our secondary.
There's like 50 of them.
Like there's so many there's so many of them. And every time I look out there, when they call ones and twos, it's kind of like the offensive line, you guys. There's so many different groupings that I'm like, I couldn't tell you who's going to play, but you got a guy like Roderick Pleasant, who's like one of the fastest he could be like an Olympic track guy who's out there running around at corner. You got Kanye Clark back. You've got a freshman out there that's, I'm going to forget his name right now, number 27, making interceptions and making plays. Like, you got so many people. Everybody's talking about Key, who's been really good, by the way, who comes from some really good schools and has played a lot of football. You got players that have already been with us with the school, Corey Stewart. Like, I can keep going. Cole Martin is out there running a lot of nickel stuff. He's covering the slot guy a lot. He looks like a ball player. Like, there's just I could read the whole list, you guys, but what's crazy is I couldn't tell you who's playing the best.
Oh,
they're really playing well. Like even today, you guys, like in practice, like, and again, I can't say too much, but like the defense isn't just the secondary, especially like the receivers are having to work their butts off to get open. The quarterbacks are having to throw really good passes. Like a lot of the most open receivers haven't been downfield. They've been the backs out of the backfield and the tight ends and stuff like that. The downfield stuff, I mean, this secondary is doing really, really well. So it's been fun to watch that matchup.
Yeah, and it's funny. I look at you already said it yourself about the offensive line and then now the defensive backs. It's kind of like there's so many new faces and there's so much up in the air, and it's like we're not going to know anything, or like us here on the What's Bruin Show are going to know shit until we actually get to the game when they play the Utes. But I look at it as at least they have so many guys there that all seem like they look the part, and you figure they're going to be able to get a starting group out of there at the very least. And so I'm a little optimistic about it.
So listen, I have to interject.
Please.
There's a chance that this secondary could be quite a bit better.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
There's a chance. I mean, there's a lot of people that are like, you know what, this group is we have athleticism, speed, and don't ever underestimate what competition does.
Yeah.
Like that part of it to me is amazing, because like you said, when there's so many, and like someone said this too, like there's, and I forget who it was, but like we're starting to feel like we have Big Ten depth.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I talked about the running backs earlier. I talked about the offensive line. I mean, we've got, 4 or 5, Peter Barrio is doing a hell of a job at tight end right now. He was a fullback before. So like you look at some of these, that just adds more depth. And I'm like, these players are there's so much of it that just kind of gets you excited, because you have to have depth to go through, because UCLA schedule is so much easier this year. We went from like the second toughest schedule down to like the 8th toughest schedule,
which
like,
is hilarious.
It's crazy how hard our schedule can be. But to be honest with you, when you look at it, there's a lot of games, especially if you think about the way we played last year, and now imagine how much better the offense is going to be. Like you start thinking about, like, there's a lot of winnable games.
Yeah.
But you still have to show up and play, though.
No, absolutely. And that it's really funny, because last year, going into Deshaun Foster's first season, like the headlines were Chip Kelly left, Deshaun's getting a late start. Oh, he hired Eric Bieniemy as the coach, and that's really what anybody talked about. And those turn out to be, I used the term under the radar a little while ago, but that's really what they were. And then Deshaun has his day at media day, and then that becomes a story. And it's like nobody wanted to pay attention to the Bruins at all until they actually start playing games, and they finished stronger. That like this season, it's funny. It's like the headline is Nico, and the people just throw it away like, oh, well, Nico's there, but look at all the turnover they had. They lost all these guys, so they can't be any better. But it's like when you actually look at who they brought in and all the things you've talked about, Wayne, I think it's really easy to be optimistic about how they can play on the field, especially with the, like I said, the schedule's really hard, but they're not unwinnable games for the most part. So I don't know. I can't help but have pleasant thoughts about it.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, like, if you're really going to say, and by the way, I'm not going to think this because I'm not wired that way, but you could say Penn State and Ohio State.
Yeah.
And then I would come back with the argument, yeah, but we played Penn State at the Rose Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, and we've all of us, all three of us, you guys have been around UCLA long enough to know that those are games that UCLA sometimes wins.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Those are the games that, like, you're like, oh my gosh, we just whooped LSU. Like we just, and you go back as long as I do. I've seen a lot of those moments where these schools come into town and they walk away going, what just happened? So like, but that doesn't mean that there's also, I've watched this team long enough to know that there's other games that you think we should win for sure. Like Arizona a couple years ago, and you don't win it. And that's almost a season crusher, So to me, it's a schedule that I'm with you. It's a schedule that you can be optimistic about. But remember, you guys, probably the biggest game of the whole year, well, it is right now, is Utah.
Yes.
Utah to me with Coach Willingham is always going to be a huge test. He's limping right now, right? So he's a guy that's coming off a season that he hasn't had. That even and I bet you that guy is, knowing what I know about Coach Willingham, he's putting everything he has into the season. People have talked about his retirement, but I'm like, man, there's no way this guy hasn't given everything he's got to this season. So they're going to be good, but we get him at the Rose Bowl, And so to me, we're going to learn a lot. But if the offensive line plays the way I think they can, if the running game comes back to throw in with a quarterback that we think can be elite, I think we're all in agreement on that. It just, to me, I really am waiting for a receiver to step up. Is it going to be Quasi? Is it going to be, a player that we haven't seen a lot of, and Xavier Staples, who looks amazing in a uniform and can run? Is it going to be, are we going to throw more to the tight ends? Hudson Habermill, I'm so happy for that I wanted to call him a young man, but he's not young anymore. I think that him and Jack are going to be a strength of the team. Those guys are really, really, and Hudson looks great, by the way, right now. And then, I'm just wondering who the receivers are going to, which receivers are going to say, maybe it's Carter Shaw, who's got a great body. He's put on some weight. He's looking healthy again. I don't know who it's going to be. Is Titus going to stay healthy this year and have a big year? Like,
Right.
Are we going to get Rico back? And, at some point in time, which I think we're going to. So, like, I don't have any idea. I hope 3 or 4 of them step up and say, listen, I'm going to be the next great UCLA receiver. But as of right now, that's one of the things I'm kind of looking to see who's going to be that person.
No, we'll put a pin on that. Wayne, you've been always more than generous with your time, and we really do appreciate it. I'm just looking forward to that Utah game because I think there's so much we're going to learn about this team when they got there to play Utes. And I'm like you, I'm very happy that it's going to be at the Rose Bowl. But I'm looking forward to seeing you stroll around the sideline. Once again this year. When does College Sports Now start up for you?
So we are going to tape our first show because Hartzell's being difficult on Sunday morning, but it'll probably still it'll probably still. I love that guy.
Yeah,
so it can't be too mean.
We love him too. I love him too.
He's a trooper.
He's great. No, I think we're going to kick it off. I think my show will still drop on Wednesdays, but Roddy Jones is back, and I'm so glad we're getting to keep him because he's getting pretty popular over there on the ESPN, and I think he does a great job. So he's deserved it. And then Felder and hopefully Phil Steele. I'm still looking at his magazine right here. He's going to give us the best half hour of any podcast you can get. That guy's brilliant. So I'm excited, and I think it's going to be a good year. I think it's going to be we didn't talk about big picture stuff, you guys, but man, I can't wait to start talking about playoff formats and all that stuff and going off into the weeds the way I always do. He told me I had homework, Hartzell. He said I got to come up with 5 to 7 topics. But I said, what are the odds I actually stay on those topics? I mean, that's the tricky part.
You're probably going to hear this a lot, Wayne. Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, believe me, Wayne, I have like 10 other questions I want to ask you about all that national stuff, but I'm not going to abuse you that much your first time, in the preseason. We need to conserve your batteries.
Well, listen. You guys know this. I love you guys. And so you're always welcome to call me, and we can do a show that has nothing to just. I like doing this. Don't tell anybody, but I like doing this. I do almost any of this stuff for free. It's so much fun for me to talk college football.
Oh man, and gee whiz, you couldn't tell. You absolutely couldn't tell. My God. Well, it is.
If you're gonna have that much time available, we did hang out at that like 80s concert for a little bit right before the canceled COVID.
Yes,
Bowl.
We did.
We should do a whole like 80s show, just talk about who your favorite bands, who you're seeing lately.
Slow down.
Jake,
slow down. I have a son who's a really good guitar player. My youngest, my 19-year-old, and we not only flew him down. He's at Chico State where he goes to college. And we flew him down for AC/DC at the Rose Bowl,
that's awesome.
Nice.
Which was incredible. So both my sons, my other son loves it too. He just doesn't play, but he loves the old school stuff. So we saw the old men who, by the way, showed up. It was a great concert.
I'll bet.
Then not that long ago, we actually took a trip up to Levi's Stadium for the 2-day Metallica concert, and that was incredible too. So trust me, and not to mention we could talk about the concert that we went to. We were in the pit down in San Diego for Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Joan Jett.
Okay, we need a picture of that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm not kidding you, dude. It was so much fun. But having kids that are old enough to go and enjoy that stuff with you is kind of cool too.
Yeah, Jake and I both love music. Actually, last week we postponed our show last week because we went to go see Deltron 3030 downtown. Amazing show, but we could talk for hours, but we absolutely love you coming on and just giving behind the scenes. I talk about what I see, but that's limited compared to what you see on a day-to-day basis in practice. So seriously, thank you very much for coming on.
Kickstart my heart, Wayne. We love Kirk Hammett shredding it, man. It's awesome. Yeah, that's great, dude.
You guys are great, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Have a good night, Wayne.
Take care.
Thank you.
Do you think we drink too much?
No, we don't drink too much. Men face reality, women don't. That's why men need to drink.
I hate it when podcasters talk about what they're drinking.
What else am I gonna drink, Bob? A fucking Fresca?
No, we're not having frescoes tonight on the What's Bruin show. In fact, it is the What's Bruin Symposium. And a symposium is, of course, a conversation over drinks. Mike, we just had a wonderful, exceptional interview with the great Wayne Cook.
Oh, hell
your Bruin sideline reporter / former great UCLA quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on a night like this that I always like to break out the good stuff. So I'm having a bottle of, it's only about 3/4, there's about 3/4 left, but it's my Masterson's 10-year-old straight rye whiskey. I got this for my birthday a number of years ago. Thanks, Mom, for that. And it comes in at 90 proof, and it's quite a good rye. I really enjoy it. What are you having tonight?
I saw this one. Where was I? I was actually at a place down the street. I can't remember the name of it, but I saw this one. They have a section dedicated to local craft beers, which I absolutely love. And I saw this one called Big Weekend Double IPA, and it kind of looks like a Golden Road.
Yeah,
and then I was
absolutely, I would pick out Golden Road. If I saw
exactly.
it. Like
So
the Dodger edition.
And I zoomed in. I put my glasses on, and this actually comes from Coronado Brewing Company.
Oh,
so
fun.
I'm like, all right, let's check this out. I'm down with the double IPAs.
San Diego.
Got to be careful with the double IPAs because they'll sneak up on you. But no, this is a really good one. It has a little bitter, but it actually does go down really smooth, and I am quite a fan of it. 8.8%. I'm also the fan of the tallies, the tall boys that goes 6-pack deep. And this one does, just like Pizza Port. Very a big fan of that one. But
nice.
yeah, no, this one's really good, and I approve. I give it my approval.
We thank you very much for supporting the What's Bruin show. Of course, on the Symposium, we're going to ask you for your $2.
$2.
I want your $2, and that's it. What'sBruinShow.com or the Substack, which is what'sbruin.substack.com, or at the patreon.com/BruinShow. And you know what? We're just this little independent Bruin talk show out there working for you guys. And anything you can do to help us in that quest, we appreciate, but it's not mandatory. We're going to be here anyway. But we thank you to all our loyal listeners, and we're excited for this new football season. And hey, let's have a couple more drinks and finish the show off.
It's almost
thank
there,
you
dude. We're freaking
once again to Wayne Cook.
3 weeks away from football.
It's
I love
unbelievable.
it. Love it.
Awesome. Go Bruins, and we want your $2.
Blue 32! Blue 32! California! California! Hood! Hey! Football.
All right, Mikey. So we pretty much talked about pretty much every facet of UCLA football heading into the 2025 season now. We're just waiting for them to strap it up against the Utes. But you, Mike Regalado from Bruin Report Online.
Applause, Big Mike.
Iron Mike Regalado.
Iron Mike.
You've been to a bunch of practices already too, right? Just like Wayne Cook.
Mm-hmm.
And you've seen some stuff. Not a lot because it's closed practice, sort of.
I've seen some shit, Jake.
Yeah, as always, Mike. So do you have anything? Well, first of all, give us. They're down in Costa Mesa. They're at the old Charger Rams Chargers facility.
Yeah.
And just give us set the table for us as to what the beat writers process is for getting down there, and how's it set up? Is it set up different from other camps? Is it like San Bernardino, a couple few years ago? And like, what do you actually get to see so we can put that in perspective versus the different reports that we see out there?
Well, it's definitely not like San Bernardino, although Deshaun Foster was apparently looking into something like that. And the reason they are off campus is because they are stripping the field at Spalding Field at the Wasserman Center so that they can put down new grass and turf. The thing is that they are...
Is that like country and Western?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Like peanut butter and jelly.
Right.
But no, one of the big reasons is because not currently, it's stripped already. UCLA used to have two east to west, west to whatever direction, east to west fields that were only 80 yards long. Well, the big thing about this is that they're going to have one 100-yard field on.
How exciting!
Yeah.
Spalding.
On the ground where Spalding is, with the and that's going to be all grass. With the remaining space, to the side. I don't even know. Nobody has been specific on what the plans are, where the actual 100-yard football field is going to be. But either way, there's going to be an extra turf field, according to Deshaun Foster, where they're going to have mini fields to do, breakout stuff, and makes sense. And it's also actually a pretty good way to get ready for game week, because you have a grass field and you have a turf field.
Yeah.
So UCLA is basically going to be ready for anything. Anyway,
Well, that's exciting.
aside from that, that is why they're in Costa Mesa.
Yeah, and I just want to do a little callback to when they were in San Bernardino, because that was near and dear to my heart and Bill's heart back when he was on the show. Rip Bill. And that's because we grew up out there in the 909, and I drove out with you to go see some of those football practices, which was a lot of fun back in the day.
They were fun. It was good viewing too. Big empty fields. You had the mountains right there.
Yeah.
There were literally, if you haven't been out to, what was it, Cal State San Bernardino,
Cal State San Bernardino.
where they were, I think the field was on the northeastern part of the campus, and it was just like huge fields. And I think they made 3 football fields to work out. But on the other side of the field, literally where the campus ends, is one road. And on the other side of that one road, that 2-lane highway, it's a mountain that just went straight up. And it was just great viewing.
It was great. And it allowed me to play one of my favorite Eagles of Death Metal songs.
Yes! I forgot about this.
Hopefully that doesn't get us flagged on YouTube. But we're heading to San Bernardino.
We're headed to San Bernardino.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, there's no song like that appropriately enough about Costa Mesa. But I guess we'll just, whatever.
Really?
It is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Mikey, so how much of the practice do you get to see?
Before that, I wanted to talk about, just really because you brought it up, how similar it's honestly, it's a carbon copy. Okay, let me say this. You know when you get a driving citation and
Unfortunately, well, personally, I don't remember that, for the last like 30 years of my life because of reasons that
I got one recently.
But literally, and so did my gosh darn daughter, who couldn't like spit out the fact that daddy's a cop. Give me a break, Molly.
So the main sheet where the officer writes all the information, that's Spalding Field, all nice.
Thank
and
you
clear,
for your
and
service, by the way, officer.
Yeah, thank you. I was in the wrong. I was in the wrong. That's what it is. And then the one strip where you can't see anything, like everything is literally a carbon copy. It's I'm off the rails on this. R.I.P. Ozzy.
We already interviewed Wayne. There's nothing literally for us to say.
Yeah, but no, just to add to the lore of what's going on down there, it's the fact that it literally is a carbon copy of what they have at Spalding Field, the old Spalding Field, where we have 2 football fields, and then there's like a tent in the south, just south of the tents, which represents Wasserman. So they actually did a really good job of emulating what UCLA should be going through when they get back to Westwood. We don't know if the field is going to be ready in time, and we've heard that if it isn't, they're going to be practicing on the intramural field, which they've done before during the Jim Mora era. Either way, there's football to be done.
Not anything terrible. Yeah.
So aesthetically, that's what we're dealing with. So basically, we have a tent on the west side of the fields,
which is of course the best side.
West side, best side. West Coast.
Sorry to derail you, Mike.
I'm
sorry. Continue.
So yeah, we get to see 25 minutes, and after 3 practices, there's a clear pattern. So we're watching stretches at the same time that the punters are warming up. And by the way, both UCLA's punters are Australian born, and I got to give it up to Mr. Ben Bulge, friend of the show, former guest. He wore a T-shirt that said "Punting is winning" and had a picture of Australia underneath it.
I love that.
At one point, I saw one of the punters look over, and he did like a triple take, like, what?
Nice.
I was like, Ben, they're looking at your shirt. But yeah, so first 5-10 minutes is stretching and punters. Luckily, this is what we haven't seen before. The next 10 minutes is usually, and it's on the far field, so we have to use our binoculars and good eyesights amongst the media to see what's actually happening. So we actually get to see a little bit of 11 on 11s.
Nice.
ranging from 6 to 9 plays, depending on how whatever they're calling. So
Does that get you excited, Mike? To see 11-11? Does it make you a little excited?
little bit.
Yeah.
Bit
I can
all
tell.
right.
I can tell.
But that's something we never saw before, where especially with a new quarterback in Nico Iamaleava, running the offense. So it's not a lot of time, and you can't our perspective of it. So think of it like this: you're at a concert,
Yes.
and you're field level,
Yes.
and where you're at, there are people in front of you,
Yes.
blocking your view of the
Large
band.
human
So
beings.
you can see the band, but you kind of like bobbing your head like
Yeah.
left and right because there are people in front of them.
Like Megan last
they're-
week at the Deltron concert.
Yeah, exactly.
okay,
Pretty much. Yes,
I understand.
Or me too, because there was this tall dude
yeah,
that
sorry.
just walked in front of me halfway through. I'm like, dude. What
Yeah.
the anyway, so we're trying to glean as much as we can from the little bit of time. So it's actually pretty good that we get to see a little bit of the offense versus defense, and for the most part, it seems balanced. But the offense, and we're not seeing a lot of Nico's arm. We're seeing a lot of handoffs. Wayne Cook.
Sorry.
Nice.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Male, ball balls.
You know, Wayne Cook talked about it, but from a media perspective, the running game looks good. And when I saw them, they started practice in full pads today, and I wasn't there today. I'm going to go see them tomorrow. But the 3 previous practices, they were in helmets and shells, and for the most part, the running backs were getting the best of the defense. That's very promising. So I like that. And then the last 10 minutes is basically they're in drills. You try to get, some nuggets of information. Hey, who looks good? Who looks yoked? Who's just like sprinting off the line like a freaking maniac? But yeah, it's there's not a lot. And it's really interesting too, because we're not allowed to I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this or not, but we can't take photos or
Right.
video, which is fine, whatever.
Yeah.
It's maybe it's because of their installs. They don't want to reveal anything. Whatever. I'm fine with that.
It is what it is nowadays.
It is what
in
it
college
is.
football.
Yeah, exactly. But it's been pretty fun. It's been pretty interesting to see the energy. That's what I've noticed too. And maybe it is you're just bringing in a guy like Nico and Javian Thomas, but to see guys like Hudson Habermill, who was out last year with an ACL tear, he's just kind of like sprinting back and forth and doing side steps and just looks like a freaking stud. And then you have some of the defenders, like CLA Topaki and I'm blanking on the other one right now, but
Keanu Williams?
Keanu Reeves, he was one of it's
Gary
not-
Smith?
not- Gary Smith. I am so happy that Gary Smith is he looks to be 100%.
You and me
that,
both.
That dude has been injured, and he's a guy that we've just been like waiting to see. And you know, especially big guys, you want the best for them. Like some of my favorite football players are tight ends. Some of my favorite basketball players are centers. So I love the
You and me both, Mike.
I love
the
the big
big
dudes,
guys.
especially because I'm a 5'10" Mexican. Basically, I'm an average height Mexican. But man, if I had 3 or 4 extra inches, I would have played college ball. I'm saying it. But no, as far
Okay,
as
Diggler.
as far as
Mike,
practice
no,
is
I want to
concerned,
stop you right there because I feel the same way.
Yeah.
And as someone who's been in real life with like real human beings,
who actually has height?
well, I'm just saying, like in my normal life, right? Like in
Yeah,
my normal
yeah,
life,
yeah.
I'm the big guy, but compared to athletes, I'm a tiny guy. But I've always been drawn to, like, my favorite NBA player of all time is Shaq, and of
Yeah.
course I love Kareem. He's
Yeah.
one of the goats and all that. So yeah, I totally.
One of. We need a separate podcast for this, buddy.
I know. Let's stay away. Stay away from it. Stay away from the debate. It's okay. But anywho, yeah, I totally pick up what you're putting down, baby.
Yeah, no, and it's encouraging because there wasn't the energy and the spirit that came from UCLA a year ago during fall camp was mostly coming from Deshaun Foster. And even though he had that flub, he was doing everything that he could to return the spirit of UCLA football back to Westwood.
And you could arguably say that by the end of the year, he had made an impact via his coaching. And that's the one thing you can
Yeah.
say about that team at the end of the year was they may not have had all the wins we wanted, but they were playing hard in every gosh darn game. And that's to Deshaun's credit.
Exactly.
For sure.
And this is what I kind of I was driving home the other day from Costa Mesa, an hour away from home.
Yeah.
SGV.
Better drive for Wayne, worse drive for us.
Wasn't that bad, actually. Especially
good. I'm
Saturday
glad.
morning. I got
good.
there in like 38 minutes.
It's beautiful.
But no, what I was going to say is like, so last year, the spirit that came about in regards to UCLA came from Deshaun Foster. Right now, Deshaun Foster is not the
vocal leader?
narrative.
Huh.
It's not the, I wouldn't say the vocal leader. It's not the narrative of what UCLA football is. A year ago it was because, he had that flub at Big Ten Media Days.
I see what you're saying,
Nobody's talking about Deshaun Foster. People are talking about Nico. They're talking about Jet. They're talking about Hudson. They're talking about Tino Sanseri's freaking amazing hair. And dude, did you watch his presser?
Yeah.
If just a guy, he starts talking and you just want to run through a wall for him.
Good. And that lines up with what Wayne was saying too.
Yeah.
Like Wayne's comparing him to his old quarterback coach Homer Smith and offensive coordinator, and comparing him to freaking Bob Toledo. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah,
like the
right.
dude may never have called plays before, but it sounds by all accounts like this dude is ready for this shot. And the Bruin offense can't possibly be worse than it was. So what are we worried about, guys? Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's get out there and play.
As a Nick Saban disciple, and you can't ignore it, as a Kirk Cignetti's disciple, he has it. He just he gets it.
Let's hope.
Yeah, exactly.
Bring your mouth to God's ears.
It's he needs to. We need to see him in action. But so far, he's saying the right things that I'm just more jazzed about listening to him talk about the offense and his players than I was about Eric Bieniemy. And this is before we saw Eric Bieniemy's offense a year ago. Eric Bieniemy, like,
how bad?
No disrespect
Be
to.
honest. Is this Windows Vista bad?
Bieniemy's offense.
Not iPhone 4 bad. Is
Couldn't
it?
possibly be.
Don't tell me this is Zune bad.
18 points a game bad.
Like last year.
Apple Maps bad.
Apple fucking Maps bad. That's Fredo Bieniemy for you.
Like I don't want to say this just to incite anything, but it's last year. It sounded like Eric Bieniemy was like a preacher, right before his sermon, talking about what he's planning to do, what his goals are. I listened to Tino Sanseri, and this is just a guy who's like, oh damn, this guy is football. He knows what he's been around, like as he said, this is his first offensive coordinator position, but he's been around football for 35 years. He knows what's up. So I'm very excited.
And Bieniemy being around football his entire life as well, we don't want to say that that's not the case as well. But you're saying that you kind of felt like Bieniemy was trying to sell you something, whereas you believe in Sanseri. Is that kind of what you're saying?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah. It seemed like Bieniemy was preachy, where Sanseri is, hey, I have stuff that I want to show you, and don't judge me until we do it.
Hey, I think that's a good distinction to make. And like I said, we talked to Wayne Cook about what his thoughts are on it. We've talked about what our optimism about Sanseri taking over. And look, now we just got to see him on the field. And,
exactly.
And I'm so looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, was there anything else from fall camp that you wanted to mention?
No, that's about it. It's a good, similar layout. I like what they did with kind of replicating Spalding Field, but it's good that they're off campus. There are bed checks. These are grown men, sort of, kind of. But they have bed checks. Their
minds are still young, Mike.
Exactly, their minds are still young. They're all in this one area together. They're all staying at a hotel for 2 weeks straight.
Lit.
It's basically all football all the time for these guys, getting into getting ready for the season. So I'm absolutely loving it. The energy seems really good. The energy seems it's a different energy from last year.
And it's like they're in the perfect position because people are going to be, number one, people are going to pay attention to this team because of the Nico factor.
Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, everybody's going to, we think, underestimate this team because of, number one, the Nico factor, because haters want to hate, but also because there's so much transition on this team. And bottom line is, no matter how optimistic Wayne is or how optimistic you are or I am, Mike, we've been saying this all offseason. I don't know really how good this team is going to be because you're bringing that many new
No.
players, and it could be a colossal flop. You bring a new offensive, all these new coaches, not just offense but defense too. It could be a flop. You
Yeah.
lose all the talent that they lost last year, and it could all be a flop. But because of all the things we've been telling you, we don't feel like it's going to be a flop.
Yeah.
And they are solidly. It's like they're in a better under the radar right now than they were last year.
Yeah.
In my opinion, because I was very worried about the Bieniemy thing. And it turned out to be a justifiable worry
Yeah.
because that as I told Wayne, it put one hand behind their back.
Yeah.
But now they already went out to the Big Ten. They already competed hard. They played hard throughout the year, and we saw that proof of concept, even if they were not schematically where they need to be or coaching wise where they need to be with the players. But now we feel like that stuff's kind of changed.
Yeah.
And they're still under the radar, but people are going to pay attention because of Nico, and they really could perform well, and it'd be great.
Two things really quickly. As we like you just said, we have no idea. To quote again, Operation Ivy, all we know is that we don't know nothing.
That's right.
And secondly, about we're the ones that are paying attention to what this is, and not to give crap to national media or people that are pundits that are trying to figure out UCLA, but they do a good job. I give them that. Especially since they're not used to a West Coast team that has been in the Big Ten for one season.
No doubt.
But I saw this Pro Football Focus preview
Bias. You don't like the East Coast.
about UCLA, and they talked about, we like Nico going to UCLA, but he was in a certain system in Tennessee. He's not going to fit in UCLA's system. I paused right there and I was like, dude, me, Tracy, David, Tracy McDonald, Ben Bolch, we don't even know what the system is. So the fact that you're assuming that Nico is going into the system that Eric Bieniemy had, who is no longer with this team, and totally discounting the fact that they're bringing in a whole new offense is it's kind of laughable. When I see that, try not to be rude because obviously I'm specific to this team where they're more specific. They're more generalized. They're more an umbrella focus over the entire conference, which I get. But that's why it's important to get the information from the people that actually cover them from day to day, which is us. So just throwing that out there. We even complained about this where people were like, oh, yeah, UCLA is going to have the 16th best receiving group in the conference. And I'm like, yeah, it might be a little higher than that. I'm just saying. That's just what I've seen. But yeah, it's been promising.
Yeah, and look, Mike, I completely agree with you in that, when you're doing the national media and just people are looking at UCLA, and it's very easy to dismiss them based on what the profile says.
Yeah.
Second-year coach with no coaching experience other than last year. They went 5-7 last year. They played well towards the end, but really it wasn't any sort of season that anybody that's looking at the big picture has to consider UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
They had a tough schedule last year. They have a tough schedule this year. They have so many people out and so many new people in. They get a controversial quarterback in. And so it's like you can understand why people will just look at UCLA, and it's very, very, very easy to come up with a narrative based on just the broad strokes of UCLA football.
Yeah.
And sometimes the broad strokes are correct. Sometimes the simplest explanation, Occam's razor, is the simplest is the most rational and reasonable explanation.
Yeah.
All me and Mike are trying to point to you is for this year, when you look at what the broad strokes are versus what the particulars are, there are very good reasons why someone would be excited about this particular UCLA team, in our opinion.
Yeah.
They might suck. That's within the realm of possibility. They might go out there and Sinceri's not what he's cracked up to be. Nico's doesn't play as well with probably in aggregate a less talented crew than what Tennessee had. That's arguable though, not nearly as much of a foregone conclusion as what people would say. But there's a lot of things that could go wrong this season, and UCLA could end up with a horrible record. But the flip side of that is there's a lot of things that could go right this season.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that could go right this season, and they could end up with a pretty darn good record. Or they could end up being in a lot of great close games and maybe not having the record that we all want, but you look at them and you're like, they passed the eye test.
Yeah.
And that's all we're trying to say to you is we're not saying they absolutely are bona fide going to be a kick-ass improved team this year, but they might. And there's reasons, if you're a UCLA football fan, to be really interested in how they do this year, because there's a lot of positive things that we can point to of them changing. And so that's really all I'm talking about, because Mike, you talked about, how the different national media outlets kind of just sum it up.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I've heard multiple places say, well, yeah, they got Nico and he might not be as good as they say. And also, but they got a bunch of new players in, and how could they possibly be any better than they were last year when they lost all this talent to the NFL?
But
It's factually correct, but
Yeah.
it's not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily point to what's going to be good this year.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing.
And then you hear like certain analysis of like, oh, they brought in so many new guys, and these are guys that can really make an impact for this, and this is why this team XYZ will be in a top 25 all season long. I was like, well, what's the difference between that and what UCLA is doing?
That's exactly what I was going to say
It's
next.
because UCLA did not do well last year, and it
yeah.
was kind of a cluster F. But
Yeah. And you can't have it both ways, though.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
there's teams that brought in a bunch of new talent, and like it was like very opposite. And there's teams, and then UCLA did the same thing, and then they try to pan them because of that. It's like,
Yeah.
look, we really don't know.
Mhm.
And Mike, you said it, Operation Ivy, right?
Mhm.
We only know that we don't know nothing. And
Yep.
that's the state of affairs for all of us as Bruin fans, right up until they tee it off against those gosh darn Utah Utes at the Rose Bowl.
Mhm.
Did you say Ute?
I did. What is a Ute, indeed?
What is a Ute?
The youths.
Yeah. So, anywho, Mike, that's good. We'll be back. Let's get to what's wrong with you. Because,
Let's do it.
I mean, we talked to Wayne Cook for like an hour.
Yeah, that was
like, isn't that good enough for you people?
Freaking awesome.
God, that was great.
Y'all are Grady.
What's brewing with you? You ask me. What's brewing with me? Yeah. What's brewing with you? What's brewing with me? What's brewing with you?
Mikey, what's wrong with you?
So I alluded to it at the beginning of the show. Yeah, summer's just just crazy. The kids are doing all types of stuff. The girls, my oldest is doing cheer camp, and then both of the girls are doing a different camp this week. So
That's awesome.
it kind of aligned with just perfectly with my son Hugo, the youngest, who had his birthday last week. As I said, he absolutely loved his Otani jersey, and then I was like, you know what? Let's strut that Otani jersey. So I was looking for tickets for a Dodger game, and I was like, damn, even regular season, just going to Dodgers.
It's rather expensive, bro.
It's freaking expensive.
You wouldn't believe they just increased their season ticket holder prices by a factor of, let's see, like 20%.
Because they are
The guy that
champ-
you have tickets
yeah,
from,
Yeah.
his cost went from 6,000 to, I don't know what the percentage is, but like 6,000 to
Damn.
7,500. Like that's how much they went up
Damn. Yeah.
per seat.
But
Anywho.
but there are like all these sites and apps that like, oh, we sell tickets for cheap and all that. And I was looking on at some of them, and not a lot were impressing me, especially for I just wanted to take this kid to the game. So I asked in our text chain, hey dudes, y'all know a ticket site that sells cheap or last minute, blah blah blah. And Jake, as he always does,
You want to go see a game?
came out
Who do you talk to?
hitting a home run.
Let's got 2 thumbs and get tickets.
It was
This guy.
yeah. Here's how cheap I am. I was looking to I was looking to get tickets that were like maybe $40 each. Hey, we'll be in the
I know,
top
I'm sorry,
section,
Mike.
whatever. Dude,
I'm sorry, Mike.
Jake came out with like, okay, so and I don't personally I don't mind saying this. You just seats that were like, we were in the second row from the freaking field, from left field. And there we got there for batting practice. Balls are getting hit all over the place. It was nuts. Like Hugo his mind was blown. He didn't get a ball, unfortunately, but the fact that this is a core memory for him, dude, Jake absolutely knocked it out of the park. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I was hoping to maybe pay $80, but $200 for this whole experience, freaking awesome. Again, people need to wear more deodorant. But yeah, we got there early because it was Roki Sasaki bobblehead night, which that's another thing he absolutely loved. He already pulled it out. He's like, yeah, it's on my shelf. That's my boy. But yeah, it was like last time I took him to a game was probably about 4 years ago. So he wasn't into baseball as much, but now he has his Otani jersey. He's waiting for Shohei to bat. He knows almost everybody on the roster. I'm like, this is my boy. I love it. I don't even know everybody on the roster, but he asked about certain players. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know where they're at now, but just an absolute fun night. Jake, thank you so much for hooking it up. Just great. Obviously took a tour of Dodger Stadium, took some killer photos, and yeah, we went home that night, and he was just like, "That was awesome." I'm like,
I'm very glad.
Bruh. Jake, what's the problem with you?
No, that's awesome, dude. And so I had a weekend with the youth as well. What is a ute indeed?
What is a ute?
I had all the utes with
The
me.
youths.
Yeah. From
I've been watching New Girl again, and I remember that one episode with Schmidt going, "The youths."
yeah. Great show.
I've been saying that about my kids, like, "You youths are crazy." Anyway, sorry.
That's okay. So the twins, Jackson and Jordan Shirley. I'm not sure if Bill's okay with me announcing their name on air, but F you, Bill. But anyways, the twins expressed to me a couple weeks ago when I was doing a cookout for them, that they wanted to go fishing in a lake because they've been fishing on the ocean before. And so I said, well, let's think about it, and I'll try to take you guys fishing. So I booked a cabin in Crestline at Lake Gregory. And Bill and I went halvesies on that, and we took the boys and Malcolm and
Where's
Megan.
Crestline? San Bernardino County?
Yeah, it's just
Okay,
below
okay.
Lake Arrowhead. First
There you
stop
go.
up the hill is Crestline.
Oh,
then
so
it's
towards
Lake Arrowhead.
Riverside?
Yeah, it's San Bernardino Mountains.
Okay, gotcha.
And then
gotcha.
going up to Big Bear, it goes Crestline, then Lake Arrowhead, then Big Bear. And so it's only like 4,400 feet in the air, not quite a mile high.
Yeah.
And it's only 20 minutes up the hill, basically 25 minutes. As a ute, Sarah and I spent a lot of time up there because Colby, the best man at my wedding, one hair Lone Mart, thank you very much. His mom used to own a bar up there, and we'd go up there every weekend. So familiar with the area. Anyways, I took the twins and Malcolm and Megan and Bill and Sarah up to go fishing at Lake Gregory at this cool cabin that was right on the lake. And we did some night fishing, and then we did some morning fishing. The morning fishing was really me and Jackson only because everybody else was sleeping. But the boys learned a very valuable lesson, and that is when you go fishing in a lake, you should not expect to catch anything. Ever.
Yeah.
End of story. And the art of fishing is really just the being there and getting your line in the water and taking a deep breath and thinking about the nature of things and really doing some introspection and getting the peace of the morning and the ducks flying across the water and the fish kind of looking, taking bites out of the water, but they're not going to bite your hook.
Yeah.
They might steal your bait, but they're not going to get on your hook.
Buddy.
Even more so than baseball, where like success is, a little bit above 250, fishing on a lake is like the success is a little more than like 0.025 or something. I mean, it's like it's a sport of failure.
Yeah.
Unless you're in the South and you have a boat and your radar and your big rig, your big fishing rig and all that stuff. Anyways, the boys were exposed to the futility of lake fishing.
They learned a life lesson.
I hope they enjoyed it. I enjoyed being up there, and we had a good old time. So yeah. And it's funny because my kids have already been exposed to the futility of fishing. And so like Malcolm knew what he was getting into. He's like, okay, fine, old man. I'm going to throw my fucking line in the water and I'm going to goof off a little bit. And he was good. But the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And I often joke about our good friend Bill, like when he gets excited about something, it's like, I would say
Fantastic.
Well, and I would just always say, Bill, it's like through the eyes of a child, because he gets so enthusiastic about things. And it's like, I love Jackson and Jordan because I was seeing that from them as well when it comes to fishing. Like for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They're talking to me about this fishing trip, and even on after we didn't catch anything on it would have been Saturday night. Sunday morning, man, Jack was just so jacked to get his pole in the water, so to speak, and he was just like, oh man. And then I told him, before any of the other fools came down, like we were down there at like 7 to like 8, and I said, dude, if we're gonna catch anything, it's gonna be right now. It's going to be for the next hour.
Yeah.
And then once we get to 8 o'clock, like no one's catching nothing anyway. So this is our window. And me and you are the only ones here to catch these fish right now.
Yeah.
And so if we're going to catch them, it's going to be right now, bro.
Yeah.
And he understood that. And then by the time everybody else came down, we're already past our window. We weren't going to catch shit.
Yeah.
And so then, but even I appreciated his enthusiasm. And then when it was done, I appreciated the fact that he's just like, oh man, I didn't catch a fish. But hope springs eternal.
Yeah.
We're going to go to Mammoth, I hope, in next summer.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole year away, but I'm fairly confident we'll catch something in Mammoth. But anyways, that's what threw me. It was a fun day. It's fun weekend, and it was good. So, Mikey, this is a great opening salvo.
Hells yeah!
For our show heading into the 2025 season. How can you ever be disappointed about Wayne freaking Cook? You just ask him a question, and he'll
Great
talk for
hair,
27
too.
minutes.
I know, right?
He's a goddamn
I
handsome
love him,
devil.
yeah.
I didn't get to talk to him about his experience at Big Ten Media Day. We didn't get to talk to him about, like really
We had
any of the national
questions.
stuff. But listen to him on College Sports Now. He's wonderful on there with Second Hartzell. And he's also wonderful on all the Bruin stuff with the old Nick Coop. By the way, I'd love to get Nick Coop on because that's a fine young man.
Let's do it.
He's a great guy. So anyways, Mike, it's a great opening show.
Yeah.
We're going to be back on Friday with the Raina Troy crossover. And then me and Mike will be back next week. And then we're trying to get somebody to talk Utah football that may or may not come together.
Yeah.
And then we'll go with we're gonna, and we got, by the way, so I have the Godfather on because he wanted to talk about dual sport athletes at UCLA. So there's a lot going on. We hope you enjoy the show. And Mike, until next time, what the hell did you say?
Good evening.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
That was the What's Bruin show.
Oh my God.
Try us tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
It's got to be in or out, Mom. In or out. Well, I need the door closed.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Dude, Rob, we play some ball on the West Coast.
The final word is boob.